Wow. Do you know how hard it is to get lighting perfect for a shot? If you're someone that's still second guessing what they want to do in their life or their career, and if you had a dream or you had something that you really wanted to do when you were younger and you never quite did it, and now it's in the past and you feel as though you missed that opportunity and you can't really go back, but yes, you can. It's not too late. Anything that you want to do in your career, you aren't late. I don't know why we have this feeling of if we're not successful right now, then I've failed. I just want to talk to you about how many times I failed in my career, or how many different jobs that I had before I actually pulled my head out of my own ass and put my whole heart and soul into my photography. I have been a photographer for over 10, 11 years. And in that time, I've had so many jobs here and there that have been on the side of my photography that I've done when my photography wasn't really busy and I kind of freaked out and I was like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm making money. The amount of things that I have done, and everything led me back to photography. Anytime I've ever strayed the path, it has always made me uncomfortable, and it's always brought me back to what I'm actually supposed to do. And only 2 years ago did I realize that everything that I was trying to do in the background of my photography wasn't what I was meant to do. And 2 years ago, I stopped all of it. And I went completely all in. I want to tell you specifically about September 2024, because that was a year in my career that completely changed everything for me. And I feel like it's such a story to tell, because it's a story really about how my path was being interrupted on what I should be doing. So if you have the time, if you can be bothered listening to me talk about this story, keep watching the video and let's get into it. September 2024 was when everything fell into place for my career. And I went all in and never looked back. And now my photography career has completely flipped upside down on its head and succeeded. Every time you push back on your dream, every time you run away from what you're meant to be doing, you will be uncomfortable. And things are going to continuously not go your way until you do exactly what it is that you want to do with your life. This is a story about how I was running away from my potential and then I stopped everything randomly one night. So back in 2024, for about 3 to 5 months, I was working for a picnic company. It was 3 days a week and it was bringing me in $1,300 a month, and it was just a little bit of pocket money. It was 4 hours a day, and I thought, well, my photography isn't really busy right now and having that constant income is smart, so I'll continue at it. I was doing that for 3 to 5 months, 3 to 4 times a week. At the time for me, it was constant income and it wasn't hurting anyone. And then my photography started dying off because around August it's winter, so no one's really booking any weddings. It's not really busy, so my photography was really not doing much. And instead of me sitting down with myself and actually putting effort into fixing that, I ran away from my photography and I got a second job. And that job was for a social media agency. This was full-time. This was a full-time position, but you were only in the office 2 days a week, and then the rest of the days you were working from home. So in my head, I was like, oh, how full-time can it be? You know, I have this picnic job 3 to 4 times a week, 4 hours a day. I finish at 1 p.m. So the hard yards for this full-time job will come before 1 o'clock and then I'm smooth sailing. How hard could it be? And when I tell you, I was there for literally 3 days. I had that job for 3 days. And the third day in, I literally had a nervous breakdown. I couldn't do it. I literally asked the universe if that job was only hard because I was new and I wasn't familiar with that kind of industry. I was literally asking the universe for a sign if this is a normal way of feeling, if I feel overwhelmed and that it's too much work. Am I just lazy, or is this genuinely just fucked and they're asking me way too much? And one of the girls from the team, we had a Zoom call because they gave me this project that I thought was way too big out of scale for the job description that I was under. And when we were on that Zoom call, she had at least 40 tabs open. And I remember asking her, like, oh my God, like, how do you concentrate? Because for me, with my projects, I like to start and finish them before I start another project. And if I can't finish them, I still get them done quickly. And she pretty much said to me, like, oh no, like, this is normal. Like, I have at least 10 to 15 projects going and I just jump between all of them. And I was like, oh, fuck no. No. Now, this is a creative job. You'd think that as a creative person that this would be perfect, but everything inside of me was just so uncomfortable and I had to get out. That was that. That was done. I was out. I'm still working for this picnic company. They wanted me to be a business development manager for their company in Sydney, and they wanted to move over to Melbourne. So for that 4 months, I was doing permits for councils, I was doing site visits, I flew over to Sydney as well to do training and stuff. Like, it was full-fledged, except they wanted me in my house to have all of the alcohol, all of the props, all of the gear, everything. And for a while, I allowed it to happen. I was like, this is cool. I'm a business developer. I'm going to make so much money. But the pay didn't change. It was still $25 an hour. And on the 1st of September was when they started doing like the ball rolling of sending over gear to Melbourne, like sending the literal picnic baskets, the picnic tables, the blankets, the cushions, the flowers, the fairy lights, like they were organizing to send it over. And I started again feeling like, hold on a minute, like I'm being taken advantage of, because I was still only paid $25 an hour and they weren't covering any of the portion of my house that they were taking up for, I guess, like free rent. And I remember saying to them, like, hey, I sometimes have weddings and they're on the weekends. Now, I'm the only employee that you've got for this whole thing in Melbourne, and I might need some support, because if I have a wedding that's booked, I have to take that, which means that either we'll have to block out the calendar and no one's able to book a picnic, or you're going to have to hire staff to help me, because there's no way that I'm giving up a $5,000 job to work for $25 an hour. Babe, no. So they straight up said no, that would mean that they would lose revenue in their business, and that's just not how the cookie crumbles for them. And I said to them on the 6th of September, now this is a massive pivotal moment in my career. I stood up for myself and I said that in order for me to continue on this job, they would need to rent a warehouse, they would need to hire staff, and they would need to pay me more, because working for $25 an hour is not really much for the things that I was doing. And again, they said no. And if they wanted to do that, that I may as well not be part of the company. And I was like, okay, well, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I was sitting on the floor with my partner and I realized, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. This feels so not what I should be doing, and I'm being taken advantage of, and I need to get out. I need to get out, like then and there. And that was the next day that I sent the email. So on the 6th of September, I went into my calendar, I searched up all of the weddings and all of the bookings that I had, and I had a goal of, if I had made $5,000, if I have already guaranteed $5,000 worth of money, I won't get another job. I'll just really hustle hard. But if I have under 5,000, I'll get a little job at a cafe. Now, my brain still wasn't understanding that I just had to go all in on my photography. I kept running away. I kept feeling like this is the most amount that I can get. This is as far as my career is going to get me. And $5,000 a month is good. So I should just be happy with that. Until when I went in my calendar, I was actually guaranteed to make $6,000 that month. And I said to myself, if you can post every single day on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, if you go into all of the wedding pages and post on there, comment on all of the posts, do everything you can, I promise you, you will make more. So I did exactly that. The 6th of September 2024, I started posting every single day. And by the end of September, I had made $18,000. And ever since then, I have made a minimum of $10,000 a month. And it's all because I stopped running from what I really, truly wanted in my career, and I just put the effort into what I wanted. I also really had a goal of booking 20 weddings or having 20 weddings in my calendar, whether they were 2024 to 25. I just wanted 20 bookings. And by December, I had 68. And it was all because I actually put the effort into what I wanted and I went all in. And I stopped second guessing myself. I stopped thinking that the ceiling of my career had gotten to a point and I couldn't go any further, and doing anything else just wasn't going to work. And since then, so many things in my career have happened where I've been able to excel. You know, how did this happen, Dahria? Like, how did you get so many bookings? How are you so full-time? How did you go from a struggling artist to skyrocketing in your career? And every single time I answer, it's always that I went all in on my career and I stopped running from it, because I have so many friends and people in the industry that I've had this conversation with, and all of them have said, but they're too busy, or they have a full-time job outside of their creative career, or they overthink themselves, or they're too embarrassed to be in front of the camera. Do you want to make money or no? Do you want this to be your career, or do you still want to work for the man? Or do you want to make your own money and your own times and your own rules? And it does take a very strong-willed person to put themselves first and to go all in. I wasn't even strong. I was running away from it and I didn't even notice until I actually started to get so uncomfortable in my life and things started feeling so claustrophobic that I had to get out and cancel everything and just be done. And then focus on the sole thing that I wanted to do. And that's the difference between making excuses and going all in.